accepted to in Thailand. The superstar of the camp, he picked me up from my old camp, took me to the new camp, and he showed me around the camp and said, "This is where you'll be sleeping." And it was a wooden floor, and I was side by side next to 10 other boxes. And so I thought, I'll go near the wall, so that way I've only got one person to worry about instead of having two people either side of me. So then you only get the one arm or the one leg. It's like, get off. And then so we'd sleep on the floor, and then we'd wake up about 5:30. We'd brush our teeth, we'd run, we'd train for 3 hours. We'd come back, we'd have breakfast, shower, breakfast. You're usually ordered to have a little bit of a kip in the afternoon because you've put in such a big effort in the morning. Refresh, get recharged for the afternoon session. Then afternoons was about another 3.5, 4 hours again. And that was, sometimes it was 6 days a week. Sometimes the training would go through these phases where it's like 7 days. And that was terrible because there's no chance for your body to recover. And you train Sunday, and then when Monday hits, you're just devastated because you know how sore your body is and there's no time to recover again. But it was, so where I lived, instead of having a normal toilet, we had a porcelain little hole where it had little foot pegs. So, and then, I don't know if the TV, so you got to squat over this hole, and then there's no toilet paper. So we had this big basin with a plastic scoop in there. So you have to pour water into your hand to wipe your bum.
Yep. And
then you stand on side the basin, and you use the container to lather up, and then you rinse up, and then you wash off, and all the water runs out the hole. And then for when you brush your teeth, you get the same, and you pour the water into your hand.
Nice.
And then and then you're sharing that same plastic container with 10 other people that are all sharing, pooping, brushing their teeth, pooping, brushing, sharing. It's just like how I didn't get sick at the time.
That's incredible.
But that's at the first it's like, oh my God, how are we going to do it? But then after a couple of weeks, it's just life. It's just normal.
Well, the Romans were doing the similar thing. They would have they would have a seat, and there would be 15 people in all the seats, all having a shit, and you'd be scooping down the same water you're shitting in, dodging the other shits to wipe. That is dangerous.
And then when it was time to eat, we'd have maybe 4 or 5 different dishes in the center, and then you sit on the wooden floor cross-legged, and then you have your plate on the floor. So you lean over your legs, and then you, instead of me going bah, 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 I go one teaspoon at a time, and everyone gets a plate of rice, and everyone say 1 teaspoon, and then it's a community. You can't be a pig. You've got to share evenly. You're living with these guys, you're eating, you're showering, you're training, and then they become your brothers. So what happens? So let's say if you got a family of 4 or 5 kids and you got no money and you're just surviving, they'll bring one of the little kids to the camp, they'll knock on the gate, and then we'll answer. The owner of the camp will open up, and then the parents will say, "Oh look, we've got little Johnny here. Will you accept him into the camp?" And then the trainer will look him up and down, they'll feel his little arms and look, all right. So the little kid the parents will pass him his bag, and then the parents, they have a little, see you later, and then he might not see his parents for the next 10 years. And he from that moment forward, he becomes property of the camp. And then every time he fights, he might make $20. And then he might have to fight 3 or 4 times a week until he gets into his later teens where he starts punching with enough power that he's doing damage. But while he's younger, you can get away with fighting 3 or 4 times. And then if it's a good camp, they'll save the money, and then the kid will buy his own school clothes and books and everything. So he'll pay for his own education. It's crazy. It's so crazy. And you see these little kids just go from kids to men because they've got no parents. All of a sudden, they're pretty much turned to orphans, and the gym becomes their new family. So the first couple of nights, the kid will just cry and bawl his eyes out because where's my parents? And all of a sudden it's like, mate, we're your family now. And then wow. I've seen it a few times where the kids just rock up, and then all of a sudden they're just part of the crew. And then
is there many people you've caught up with going back to Thailand that you knew when they were young kids coming up?
Yeah, my last time I was there was 2010, so I haven't been back for 10 years. But so many of the kids. Fighting is more than just fighting, because we do it for fun. They do it to survive. They do it to make money. They do it so their parents have a little bit of money in the bank, and some of them hate it. They just despise it. They only do it because it's a form of income. So it's a very tough gig. But as